To reach the new surplus application, type in the URL into your browser, any browser, and it'll bring you to the application, which will redirect you to the CAS system. And once you're here, enter your NetID and password and click on Login Now. And now you'll see this message. So if you're the first person from your department to register your department, you'll click Continue and fill out the rest of the brief self-registration form. If your department has already been registered, it will tell you when you try to register again for the second time. So we'll click on Continue here. And this is the self-registration form. And it's just the very first part of it. So if we type in the department number, and you have to put in your actual department number that's unique to your department, and hit the Tab key. If your department has already been registered, you'll see this message, and then you'll need to contact the administrator in your department and have them add you to the system manually. So we're going to click OK here, and we'll put in a different number so we can go ahead through the self-registration. So we're going to call it Test Department. And then you'll put in your first name, and your email address or your NetID with the email extension will be there already, and you only have one choice to be the administrator. So the first person here is going to be the administrator, and then we click on Register, and it'll bring you back to the system where you can now set up your department profile. And this is an important first step because you cannot use the rest of the application until you've filled out your department profile. And so you're limited to only this single menu item until that's done. Once that's done, you'll be able to see all of the other parts of the application and do your disposal requests. So we have our test department, we have our department number, and if we click on the edit button, then we can fill out, let's just say the abbreviation is TD for test department. Now, if you belong to another department, if you're a sub-department, you can look up the other departments here. And if you type in all or part of the name, it will bring up the list accordingly. I'm just going to put a wildcard in here in case there's anything that we can use to review. So here's some other departments, and if we belong to GB department, for example, we would choose that. Otherwise, we just leave it as the main university if you're a main department and not a sub-department. And then here we're going to put the address, and so the building name and building number, and if you've got a PO box number, you can put it in there as well. And the address will be the street address, if you like, or the internal address from the university campus. I'm just going to put in a dummy one for the moment. And then the city will be Riverside, and the state will be California, and then you'll put in your zip code. I don't know the zip code for Riverside. And then you don't need to check main if you've only got one address. The idea is that you have one main address, and that's the address that will show when you do queries on your profile, etc. It'll default to main on the first occasion. And the reason you need to enter your address is because it's going to tell the surplus department where to come to pick stuff up from you when you're disposing of property. And now we can enter the main phone number. And once again, you don't need to select the main. The idea of the main checkbox is if you have more than one phone number and you want to choose which one is the main phone number. Here we're going to enter account numbers that you'll use to do business with the surplus department. So we will need a debit account if you're going to be purchasing items from them. So we'll type in a dummy account number here and dummy object code here. And then we'll click on the little save icon here to save that one. And if you're going to receive funds back from the surplus department, perhaps they do that if you have high-priced items that are sold, then you'll also have a credit account. And so we'll enter just a dummy credit account, put in an object code, and go ahead and save that one. And then most important is that we save the top section of the screen. And that is the main department profile completed. And then the first person who registered for the department will have their profile here, and you can now click on the edit button. I just clicked on the department username to drill down to the detail. We can click on the edit button. We can put a title, and we can choose that person's security level. An administrator can make individuals administrators, managers or users. A manager can make individuals a manager or a user, but not an administrator. And a user, of course, can only manage their own profile. Password is not necessary. And then your individual phone number will go here. And once again, you don't need to click domain, it'll default to that. And if you're the administrator and you want to authorize yourself to approve disposal requests, then you'll check this little box here. And then you'll go ahead and save that profile. And then if you're going to add new people, then go ahead and click on the new button. It'll empty the form and you can fill out all of the information. The important thing here is to enter the net ID with the @ucr.edu suffix, because that's how the system will recognize somebody coming in with their net ID. Once that is completed, the surplus department gets a notification that you filled the form out. They'll verify everything's correct and they will authorize you. And once you've been authorized by the surplus department, the next time you log in, you'll see all of the other menu items. So I'm going to go ahead and authorize this behind the scenes, and we'll come back and we'll refresh this and you'll see the other menu items. So while you're waiting for the surplus property department to approve you, you can go ahead and log out, and you'll see the log out successful. So the next time we log in, because our department has been approved, we go to our UCR EDU and we log in. And now we can see the rest of the menu items that are available to us. And I'll create a separate video showing you how to enter the disposal requests.